Welcome to tonight's Scarlet Road Restoring Hope Gala. We really appreciate you joining us here tonight. And like the values of Scarlet Road state, tonight is about raising funds to help prevent, reach, and restore the lives who've been impacted by sexual exploitation. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. And as you join and log on, we want you to tell us where you're coming from. And when you do, you can do that down in the comments section below and on your YouTube feed. And by telling us where you're joining us, you're going to be able to be entered to win a custom wine tasting experience in Woodinville, Washington. And if that's not enough opportunity to win, you're going to want to hop onto Facebook and Instagram and post a photo and share a story about how Scarlet Road has impacted your life or how you've interacted with Scarlet Road in your life. And when you do that, make sure you hashtag Scarlet Road and tag Scarlet Road in that post. You'll be entered to win a getaway weekend at the Cabin in the Sky up along the beautiful Skycomish River. We look forward to you interacting with us throughout tonight. And when you feel that call to give, you can hop on to scarletroad.org/gala and learn about the ways that your funds contribute to improving the lives that have been impacted by sexual exploitation. That's scarletroad.org/gala. Look forward to seeing you tonight at our main event. Welcome to the Scarlet Road Restoring Hope Fundraising Gala. We're really excited to have you to join us here tonight, both near and far. Tonight's mission is about raising funds for a great organization that helps prevent, reach, and restore the lives that have been impacted by sexual exploitation. Just by showing up tonight, you've been entered to win a handful of awesome prizes, but if you want to increase those odds, you can tell us where you're coming from. I know Dottie Newberg is joining us from Oregon. It's great to see you, Dottie. There's people joining us from Paulsville, Washington. Awesome to have folks join us from both near and far. By commenting where you're joining us and who you're joining us with down in the YouTube section, you're going to be entered to win a custom wine tasting experience up in Woodinville, Washington. But if that's not opportunity to win enough, we want you to hop on over to Facebook and Instagram and share a photo and a story about how Scarlet Rose has impacted your life or how you've interacted with Scarlet Rose in your life. Make sure you tag Scarlet Rose in that post and hashtag Scarlet Rose as well. You'll be entered to win a getaway weekend at the Cabin in the Sky along the beautiful Skycomish River over in the Cascades. Awesome experience there as well. We really appreciate you joining us, like I've said. If you feel the call to give tonight, we want you to go over to scarletrose.org/gala and learn about how your funds and contributions impact the lives that have been impacted by sexual exploitation. We look forward to our main event tonight, so stick around and continue to engage with us in the chat box below. Welcome to the Scarlet Road Restoring Hope Gala. We're really excited to have you here tonight and engaging with us down in the comment section below. Tonight is just like the values of Scarlet Road State. Tonight's about raising funds to help prevent, reach, and restore the lives that have been impacted by sexual exploitation. Just by showing up tonight, you're going to be entered to win a bunch of really awesome prizes. But if you want more opportunity to win, you can hop into the comment section down below and tell us where you're from and where you're joining us and watching and who you're watching with. And doing that, you'll be entered to win a custom wine tasting experience over in Woodinville, Washington. It's been really awesome to already see people hopping on and engaging. Hello, Melanie in Port Orchard. Hi, Diane over in Bainbridge. Excited to have you guys here tonight. If you want more opportunity to win, you can head on over to Facebook or Instagram and tell us a story and post a picture about how Scarlet Road has impacted your life or how you've interacted with the organization. When you do that, make sure you hashtag Scarlet Road and make sure you tag Scarlet Road as well. We look forward to engaging with you all night, and when you make that post online, you're going to be entered to win a cabin in the sky getaway weekend along the Skycomish River. And when you feel the call to give, like some of you have already felt the call tonight, you can hop on over to scarletroad.org/gala and learn about the ways that your funds and contributions impact the lives that have been impacted by sexual exploitation. I know we've already had some pledges rolling already, and we look forward to having a few more come later tonight. We'll see you guys in a few for our main event starting at 7 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the Scarlet Road Restoring Hope Gala. We're really excited to have you all here tonight tonight is about shining a light on an epidemic that is silently impacting our community. My name is Caleb Janowski. I'm going to be your host for tonight, but you're also going to be hearing from members of the organization as well as members of the community who have seen the work of Scarlet Road firsthand. Before we get going tonight, I want to thank Peninsula Bible Fellowship for the space and the support for putting on tonight's event. Without them, this really wouldn't be that possible. We also want to thank the sponsors for tonight's event, a friend of Scarlet Road who wants to give the glory to Jesus Christ. We want to thank the Washington State Alliance for the fight against those who have been sexually exploited. We also want to thank our corporate partners, the Manette Clinic and the day team at Cornerstone Home Lending, and as well as our friend Brian Perry. The mission of Scarlet Road states that through holistic care, Scarlet Road offers hope for those who have been sexually exploited. Tonight, we want to raise funds, vital funds, for an organization that benefits those and means so much to those who have been sexually exploited, for those who receive the care of Scarlet Road, for those who continue to receive the care of Scarlet Road, and of course for those who don't even realize they need the help yet. When you feel the call to give tonight, you're going to hop on over to scarletroad.org/gala, and you're going to learn more about the ways that your funds contribute to the lives of those who have been impacted by sexual exploitation. All right, for those of you who are joining us here tonight, you've already been entered to win some awesome prizes, but I want to tell you how you can enter to win even more awesome prizes. First thing you're going to do is you're going to hop on into the comment section down below on the YouTube feed, and you're going to tell us where you're joining us from and who you're joining with. By doing that, you're going to be entered to win an awesome custom wine tasting experience in Woodinville, Washington. If you want more ways to win, you can go on over to Facebook and Instagram, and you can share a picture and a post about how you've interacted with Scarlet Road or how Scarlet Road has impacted your life. Make sure you hashtag Scarlet Road and tag Scarlet Road in that post. And when that happens, you'll be entered to win a getaway weekend at the Cabin in the Sky along the Skykomish River. All right, let's get started with the main portion of tonight's evening. I want to introduce John Garland. John Garland has been a board member with Scarlet Road since March of 2019. Outside of his work with the organization, he is a special investigator for the U.S. Coast Guard. Prior to that, he was active duty with the U.S. Coast Guard for 11 years. John has been literally all over the world, having been adopted from Bogota, Colombia. He now resides in Paulsbo with his 3 beautiful kids and his wife, Abby, who is a former councilwoman for the city of Paulsbo. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming John Garland.
Thank you, Caleb. Good evening and hello in the virtual space. I want to personally thank you on behalf of the Board of Directors for your involvement in tonight's fundraising gala, and thank you for your interest in the work that Scarlet Road is doing here in Kitsap County. I have the extreme honor and privilege to introduce a great friend, great human being, and a phenomenal leader in law enforcement. Tonight's keynote speaker is Chief Dan Schoonmaker. Chief Schoonmaker is on his 12th day of retirement, having just retired as the Paulsbo Police Chief. His retirement marks the end of a 30-plus year career in law enforcement. The bulk of Dan's career has been spent with the Westminster Police Department in Westminster, California, where he held jobs such as a canine handler, detective, special victims unit supervisor, SWAT commander, deputy chief, and acting chief, just to name a few. It was in Westminster where Chief Dan Schoonmaker got his first taste of working towards dismantling organized crime rings involved in human trafficking. His experience and expertise in this area have proved vital throughout his career and were also instrumental in the takedown of human traffickers here in Kitsap last year. Chief and his wife Debbie are the proud parents of 3 amazing children. In his off time, if he has any, Chief has been an exceptional coach, coaching football teams throughout the many years. Please help me in welcoming Chief Dan Schoonmaker.
Thank you, John, and good evening. What a privilege it is to be here tonight to support the tireless work being done by our friends at Scarlet Road. I appreciate everyone in attendance, and I know that you'll support this great team and the important work that they do. I've supported this event before as a guest, and so I want to start by thanking Scarlet Road for having me speak first, since I know the impact of the other speakers is going to be profound. The stories you will hear tonight are very courageous. As John stated, I just finished my career as a police officer, the last 4 years as the chief in Polsbo. I've always felt it was my honor to serve and have the deepest respect for the trust that you, the community, provided me in delivering that service. So really what I want to say is thank you to this community for allowing me to serve you. My law enforcement experience began in Westminster, California, and for those of you that don't know, Westminster is nearly 50% Asian, the majority of which are Vietnamese immigrants. Investigating the sexual exploitation of women in the community became my job when I was assigned to the Special Investigation Unit. The immigrant stories of far too many women and children start with them being stolen from families against their will or on false promises and forced into the sex trade. Commonly, our investigations led the team to residential homes, like the ones you and I live in. I've been through the houses where women are held against their will. They are all tragically similar. Dark, dingy rooms in a house that no one talks about. Usually there'd be a stained twin mattress lying on the floor of each bedroom with maybe an old sheet or blanket, a single lamp, a small table, smell of cigarettes in the air. And I know it sounds cliche, but I can assure you it is not. Mostly I remember the victims. I've seen their faces. I've seen the pain, the fear, and utter despair in their eyes. When you're a new investigator, you imagine conducting the investigation, going into the house, and being the hero and saving the victim, but the experience is actually far different. It's sad because I've rarely heard the stories of the victims. They are afraid, in fact, terrified. Fear, power, control, manipulation prevent them from speaking the words they need to say to get help, to get out. They've been told that no one cares about them, no one will believe them, no one will help them. They're told that if they try to speak up, they or a family member will be killed, so most of the time they say nothing. In the extremely rare cases when a victim finds the immense courage to speak up, their stories are tragic. And when you hear them, you don't feel heroic. You feel like you should have done something earlier. You should have done something more. Now, this is some of my experience about Westminster, but you can replace the name of the city and the stories are the same. Just in the last few weeks, 39 missing children were located in Georgia, victims of sex trafficking. 26 missing children located in Ohio, also victims of sex trafficking. 17 men arrested in Michigan for being involved in sex trafficking. And yes, these stories occur here in our state and even here in Kitsap. Victims of human trafficking are in our communities. While the majority of my experiences involve the international sex trade, that is only part of the tragic story that is human trafficking. It is the teenage years when the average victim is forced into prostitution and other forms of exploitation. And as a father of a now daughter who is an adult, I think back to what she was doing in her teenage years. She was worrying about school. She was stressed about getting her driver's license. She was constantly arguing with her friends. That's what it's supposed to be like. But there are children in our community that are growing up in environments of sexual and physical abuse, the victims of the ones who are supposed to love and protect them. Children who have no support system, who are brought up around or involved in substance abuse. They turn to the streets, they run away, they're vulnerable, and they make easy targets for those who want to exploit them. They are the victims, and this happens right here. When I think of my daughter and her friends at that age, and I put their faces on the victims that I have known, it is terrifying. So this is not a far away problem, this is a here and now problem. Enter the true heroes at Scarlet Road. They do the real work. They provide mental, emotional, and financial support necessary to create success out of the most extreme situations. They provide much needed training to law enforcement and the community. Most importantly, they restore hope to the victims of these horrendous crimes. Now, I know I'm telling this to people who are already interested in helping, otherwise you would not be taking your time on a Saturday night to be here. But I ask that you share these stories tonight with friends and neighbors. Let people know it's happening here. Awareness, education, along with your support, will provide the foundation for changing the lives of survivors forever. I am proud to support Scarlet Road and the amazing work that they do. I thank you for your time, your financial support for this essential work, and most importantly, for allowing me to serve you in this great community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate those words, and they sure are impactful. There's certainly something to reflect on in the days to come. I want to thank you all who've been engaging with us down in the comment section below. I love hearing where people are coming from, both near and far, right here locally in Silverdale, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, Bainbridge Island, coming from Oregon and across the West Coast. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. You'll all be entered for a custom wine tasting experience down in Woodinville, Washington. And if you haven't told us where you're joining from, that's how you get entered to win that prize. You can also head on over to Facebook and Instagram and remember to share a post or a photo of how you've interacted with Scarlet Road, and you make sure you're hashtagging and tagging Scarlet Road in that post to be entered to win a getaway weekend at the Cabin in the Sky along the beautiful Skycomish River. Next, we're going to hear more stories from more people in our organization, but first, a short video to show you the impact that Scarlet Road makes in our community right here locally every day.
My first memory of sexual abuse was at 6 years old. My parents were junkies and fought a lot, divorcing when I was 5. My mom brought a lot of men home, many of whom would hurt me. The first time I was abused was in my backyard by one of these guys. He molested my little brother and I while playing house. When I was little, I slept on a cot behind the dining room table. One night, a grown man climbed into my bed and told me if I said anything, he'd kill me. When I told my mom, she got drunk, climbed on top of me, and beat me. Over time, my mom's addiction increased and the beatings became more frequent. It was my 12th birthday when my mom first had me drink with her. A couple days later, she decided she needed a break and dropped my brother and I off at my dad's. I told her I hoped she died. There was a part of me that knew I wouldn't see her again. My dad never wanted me, and eventually he put me in foster care. At the second foster home I was in, the foster dad started touching me. I began drinking and smoking heavily to numb the pain and escape my reality. Finally, my dad decided to take me back home. By the time I was 16, my life consisted of drinking, doing drugs, and going in and out of mental health facilities, trying to cope with all the abuse and all the neglect. It was then that I met my first child's dad. He wasn't a nice guy, but he filled a need for me. He was extremely abusive and would beat me pretty bad. A few years after he left, I met my second child's father. He wasn't any better. When I was brutally raped, he blamed me, calling me a whore as he forced himself on me. He was my introduction to prostitution. He started selling me to other men. When I eventually got pregnant, he left me with nothing. Things started to get really bad for me. I had to sell myself in order to just survive. I didn't have any other options or support. I went to jail and had my babies taken away. I was only 22 years old. After jail and treatment, I was able to stay clean and started getting my life back together. I got my children back, but my ability to cope as a single mother and manage all the daily stressors and triggers without support didn't last. My mother's missing person case was reopened as a suspected murder. As things spun out of control, I relapsed and lost my children. I continued to carry deep guilt and shame from all my experiences. I was sad that my mom let bad things happen to me. I was mad she wasn't my protector or provider. I was mad that my dad would get high with me and proposition me for sex. His job was to do me no harm, but he would beat me and tell me he wished I was never born. I just wanted to be loved. Eventually, it became too much. I tried to kill myself. I cried out in desperation, begging God to give me a sign if I deserved to live. Suddenly, my daughter called. It literally saved my life. I chose to go back to detox and pursue my sobriety in order to, once again, get my kids back. My kids are my everything. It was then that I got connected with Scarlet Road. They paired me with a therapist specialized in healing from sexual exploitation. They provided therapeutic support groups to me, including a weekly Bible study. Together, we focused on identifying healthy relationships. I committed to sobriety with the help of a substance abuse counselor and connected with a mentor and case manager. I attend monthly peer events to build healthy community. I got both of my children back, and I now choose to put my kids above any other relationship. I understand how to advocate for myself within the legal system and protect my kids. I got myself enrolled in school again, and I'm working on my driver's license. Scarlet Road has provided transportation, clothing, food, and financial resources for my children and myself. I am picking up the pieces of my life. I know that with the support of my community at Scarlet Road and beyond, that I can be the parent that I never had. I am strong enough to care for my kids and myself. Some days it is hard to be a mom, and my advocate continues to remind me that I am enough, I am capable, and I am an incredible mother.
Good evening. My name is Michaela Lovelace, and over this past year, I had the opportunity to intern with Scarlet Road. In my time at Scarlet Road, I had the privilege to get to know and hear many of the stories of the women that they serve, and I even had the opportunity to walk alongside some of them for a short time. I learned the many different struggles and the obstacles that they faced, and I got to see firsthand the ways that Scarlet Road was able to help them. The first time I met Molly, she was sharing the story that we just heard in the video of where she had reached the end of things and couldn't bear it anymore. And she called out to God, asking for any sign or any reason to live. And then moments later, her daughter called. As I sat and I listened to this story, I was in awe and I was left at a loss for words. It was very evident that sitting in front of me was a woman who was courageous and brave. She was someone who had been fighting for her life and fighting for a very long time. She displayed so much passion for her relationship with God, and the love she had for her kids shined through her. It was clear that she would never stop fighting for them. Over the next few months, as I got to know Molly more, I got to know more of her story. I also had the joy of seeing both of her kids returned home to her, and I got to see as she became a full-time mom again for the first time in 5 years. There wasn't anything about this journey that was easy, and as things went on, there were many challenges that continued to arise and still do. We had many conversations around what it means to be a mom and how to balance taking care of her kids while at the same time still continuing to care for herself, her mental health, and her own sobriety. There were days where we got to celebrate the triumphs together, and there were days where there were tears at the difficulty of the process and the pain of the doubts and uncertainty and the guilt she felt that she wouldn't be able to be the mother that she wanted to be for her kids. Throughout our conversations, Molly regularly expressed her gratitude for the amount of support she gets from Scarlet Road and often shared how she didn't know where she would be if she didn't have their help and support. Molly's journey is not the only story that I heard like that in my time working at Scarlet Road. For many of the clients, it became clear that Scarlet Road was a place where they felt safe. It was a place where they found hope. For some clients, it was the only place where they feel as if they are heard and believed. One of the biggest ways that I saw Scarlet Road offer their clients hope was that they were there for them in any way that they needed to be, in any way that the client needed them, always showing their clients that they were not alone on the journey and they never needed to be. They will sit with clients at court. They will help clients find housing. They will help a client find a job, help clients get connected to community resources, and help them find healthy, healing communities, and so many other things. And throughout all of these services that they provide, they also will sit with clients and just listen to them. In recent years, the justice system and society as a whole is waking up to the reality that exploitation is widespread and happens literally everywhere, from the roughest inner cities to even the seemingly quiet suburbs and small towns. Exploitation doesn't always look like what we think it will or what our own preconceived notions would have us believe. The path to exploitation is complex and nuanced, and the survivor's journey is so much more. The stories that the survivors tell are not easy, and they're not always easy to understand, and they sometimes can feel as though over and over again they are being told they have no worth, Organizations like Scarlet Road are crucial to filling the gap to the journey for freedom and wholeness for so many different people. During my time at Scarlet Road, my eyes were truly opened to the depth of the need right here in this county, the complexity of the survivors' journeys, and the many barriers that they faced. Getting to know Molly and walking alongside her has been and will continue to be a privilege. Molly's determination to continue to fight for her life and her dignity, despite the barriers that arise, is something that is truly inspiring to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michaela. I really appreciate your words and your commitment to the organization as well. Tonight we've learned about the impact of Scarlet Road, both near and far, oftentimes in unseen ways by the majority of us. But it's the contributions that are made here tonight, and thank you so much for some of you who have already made that pledge tonight. But if you are feeling the call to give now, you can head on over to scarletroad.org/gala and learn more about those contributions and the ways that they impact those who have been sexually exploited in our community. Finally, I want to introduce Cheryl Cuthbertson. Cheryl has been an advocate for sustainable business practices in business development and strategic alliance for several decades. Ms. Cuthbertson has over 25 years of experience in executive management and business development at several Fortune 500 companies, and now brings that experience to the nonprofit sector as the Director of Engagement and Sustainability at the Children of the Nation. Please welcome Cheryl Cuthbertson.
Thank you, Caleb. Wow, what an amazing evening. What an amazing opportunity. I listened to that bio and I feel like not worthy to even be here because the stories of the young people and the story of Molly that we heard tonight, those are the real stories, the real heroes, and it just amazes me and humbles me. So I don't know about you, but this year has left me feeling a little unstable, a little lost, and maybe a little helpless. You know, we may not agree on many things, but the one thing we all agree on is that in 2020, very little has felt like it's in our control. For those of you even homeschooling for the first time, I know you may really feel out of control. Even the fact that we're hosting a fundraiser online is something exceptional and different. But as you've heard tonight, there is something that you can influence, something that you can impact, and something that you can change. You can restore hope to one of these young women or young men like Molly. This is something that you can do right now that will have an immediate and eternal impact. Think about if you have a daughter, a niece, an aunt, or even your wife. What would you do? What would you contribute to save their lives from assault, neglect, and abuse? These are our daughters. These are our sisters. And whatever happens to the least of these happens to us. If we want healthy communities and healthy families, then every member of that community or that family deserves to have a chance to survive, a chance to live a life free of fear and victimization. I've had the chance to work with young women in exploitation and trafficking, and most of the time their experiences are just like Molly's, where they started in a situation at home that drove them to seek refuge from someone who took advantage of their innocence. These men and women no longer want to be victims, and they need our help. They have made a decision to change their lives, but they absolutely cannot do this without each and every one of us. So tonight, there are several ways that you can help restore hope, several ways that you can help change a life. So on the screen in front of you, you're going to see different categories, and I don't want you to, if you haven't given yet, I want you to hold on a second until you see these categories and hear a little bit more. There are different categories and ways that you can give to restore hope and change your life. Tonight, if you give $2,500, it helps Scarlet acquire safe, independent housing for these young men and women. This helps them get settled, gets them moved in, it pays all of their upfront expenses. And as you saw with Molly, it is so critical. $1,000 provides 3 months of wraparound services. This is the opportunity for these young men and women to sit and to talk and to get the services and the counseling that they need to be restored. $500 provides a visit to the emergency room, because many of these young women are coming out of abusive situations where there has been physical damage and they need medical help. $250 provides 1 month of groceries for a family. And as we saw in Molly's case, keeping our children healthy and physically and mentally stable is so important. And $100 provides regular access to peer survivor support. But any amount that you give tonight will help. But here's the good news. We have some really great news. Tonight, thanks to a very generous donor, we have a $5,000 matching fund. $5,000 matching fund, but we need all of you to help us make that fund. So tonight, I'm asking if we can get 20 people who are watching, just 20, to give a gift of at least $250, we will be able to meet that $5,000 matching fund. And what a great way to change a life and to restore hope. When you came on this call tonight, when you decided to come to this event, many of you had already decided what you were going to give. You said, you know, I think I'm going to give $50 or $100 or $200, but I'm going to challenge you tonight. I'm asking you to do more. If the first 2 numbers in your check or your giving was maybe a 2 or a 3, I'm asking you to change it to a 7 or an 8. And if the last digit in your giving was a 0, I'm asking you to add a 0 or add 2 zeros. Whatever you came here tonight willing to do, I am challenging you to go further and to do a little more. If you were going to provide food for 1 family, let's provide food for 2 families. Let's restore hope. Let's make 2020 count. At the end of the year, let's look back and make this year count. You can give right now by going online to scarletroad.org/gala. Or if you want to write a check, we would ask that you would still go online, go and to the pledge form, and let the team know that you've made a commitment to send in a donation. Thank you so much for being here tonight. There were so many things this year that still make us feel a little hopeless and a little fearful. But there is one thing that we all agree with and one thing that we can all do. Together, let's control the outcome of these brave young men and women that have decided that they want to change their lives and they so desperately need our help. Tonight, let's restore hope. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rosie Garby. I'm the Executive Director at Scarlet Road. Tonight has been, as Cheryl said, an experience we didn't think we would be having last year. 2020 has taken us by storm. It has caused us to think differently about the world. And at Scarlet Road, it has challenged us in ways that we couldn't have anticipated. We've learned how to do work remotely, and a lot of it remotely. But one thing has held fast. When people need support, they need support face-to-face. And so because of that, Scarlet Road has kept our doors open throughout the year, serving people in every way that they've needed, as much as we can. And for our clients this year, there has been great hardship. But before I go into that, I want to just say thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for lasting through a virtual program for 45 minutes. It's because of you that we are able to keep our doors open. I want to say thank you to our sponsors and to all of the people who have made tonight possible. Thank you to PBF, who have flawlessly run a virtual program for us and are sitting behind the scenes doing amazing work for us as I am speaking. I want to say thank you to all of the volunteers whose hands have made tonight possible. They've put together the gift bags that you've received and the host packages that you've received and so many more details that we have exponentially needed to pull off this fundraiser. This is hard work. Working with individuals of sexual exploitation requires carrying heavy burdens. It requires holding space and holding hope for people who have lost the ability to hope for themselves or to believe that there is a future for themselves. Sexual exploitation brutalizes the soul, and it leaves deep wounds, wounds that often refuse to close or to heal. And when those wounds finally start to close, they leave painful scars that are constant triggers, disrupting that person's life as they move through the future. However, this is not hopeless work. At Scarlet Road, we have seen firsthand that with time and support, these scars begin to fade. When surrounded by love, a restorative community of hope, and the physical tools and resources to rebuild, victims become survivors. They reclaim their voice and they reclaim their future. Some days this means building safety plans, others assisting a survivor with a housing plan or writing a resume. But often it means answering a phone call with a frantic voice on the other side of that line and talking them through a panic attack. It means waking up every single day and walking alongside someone and believing that their life can be different. Sometimes believing it more than they do. I recently read a quote that I'd like to share with you, and I truly believe it embodies the work that we do at Scarlet Road. What does it mean to hold space for someone? It means that we are willing to walk alongside another person in whatever journey they're on without judging them, making them feel inadequate, trying to fix them, or trying to impact the outcome. When we hold space for other people, we open our hearts, offer unconditional support, and let go of judgment and control. This is truly the work that we do at Scarlet Road. And most days, our advocates do more listening than talking. Sometimes we're listening to silence because that's the best medicine. Scarlet Road has the privilege of walking with people on their journey of healing. However, we cannot provide these wraparound services without you, our community, wrapping around us. It requires the many compassionate hearts, hands to volunteer, and generous resources from our community. You are a critical piece of restoring hope to victims of sexual exploitation. And so I want to thank you for joining with us tonight and believing that everyone deserves to live a vibrant life free from exploitation. I want to wrap up tonight with a little bit of excitement. I'm going to invite Caleb to join me, and we're going to share our prize winners for tonight. Okay, we have the red envelope. It's not an envelope, but it's a lovely card that some of you may have received.
Absolutely, Rosie. Tonight we're going to start with the Cider Press Lane package. Congratulations, Molly Klupfel. You won the cider press package up in Chimacum. Awesome experience up there and great tasting cider. I know we could probably use a cider after tonight.
Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations, Molly. The next prize goes to our Storyville coffee package. I would just like to stop and say, this is the one I wanted to win, but I didn't get to. That's okay. That prize goes to Tom Johnston. Congratulations.
All right, Tom, congratulations. Next up is the Woodinville wine tasting. Nadine Allen, congratulations. You have just won a tasting at Woodinville, up in Woodinville. Obviously, a bunch of awesome wineries up there. You get to go enjoy an experience at one of them.
You know what, guys? I'm just going to say this right now. We need some cheering happening here. These are exciting things. It feels a little weird in a room where there's no cheering. So if you guys in the audience, we have an awesome team here sitting with us that are pulling this thing off. If you guys want to cheer, feel free. So the next prize that we have is the police boat ride, and that prize goes to Brandy Silva. Woohoo!
There's the cheering. I like it. I know all of you in your respective homes are doing some social distance cheering. Thank you for clapping along. The next prize is the housework package. Congratulations, Thomas Hiddle. You just won the housework package.
Woohoo! That's actually great. As a homeowner, that's a great package.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so our big prize of the evening is the Cabin in the Sky. This is the last prize that we have. Congratulations to Tally Angel. Awesome. Woohoo! Okay. And I would like to share tonight with you guys that the total, I'm getting like waves. Sorry, I know I'm creating suspense, but I'm not meaning to create suspense.
She had a final number on her card,
I do.
But we are getting a brand new final number. Rosie, you want to share with everybody?
The final number that is coming in is $30,000 tonight. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. If you haven't given yet and you still want to increase that total for us, please do so. We'll be taking donations all through the night and, forever. Let's be real.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you in the future.
Good night, everyone.